welcome to another episode of Tower Duo. So, we are finishing up these seasons. So, this is our season finale for season one. I know that it was a shorter season, maybe,
Let's go.
but
Wait, no, it's two.
but what we have decided is that there's going to be a break over the summer where we can reorganize and come up with better ideas. So instead of talking about another region today, I know we've been doing that in the past, we will be talking about our top 10 favorite Pokemon. So I think we'll just get started, and Connor, you can start with your number 10 and we can go from there.
All right, yeah, sure thing. So I've got kind of a lot of Pokemon that I like, but I'd say that my number 10 has got to be Luxray, and my reasoning for that is because the first time I played through Diamond, I like caught Shinx and all that, and oh my gosh, Luxray, coolest Pokemon that I had ever seen. Like he's just all like black and he's edgy, and it just looks so great. And I think I don't know, just his general appearance complements his moveset really well too because he's like a physical electric type, which you don't see very often. Uh, and yeah, so I don't know. What are your thoughts on Luxray, Andrew?
I think that's a great pick. I can
Mm-hmm.
see how like someone like you, a Gen 4 fan, would be into that kind of Pokemon that's just sort of put there to be available pretty much right away, and it is it's definitely something that you can like get that on an early route that's good, whereas that's definitely the exception throughout like the entire history of Pokemon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, yeah, definitely a lot of the earlier route Pokemon aren't the greatest, but I don't know. Like, Luxray is great, and he looks really cool too. And so he was just like my dream, just awesome Pokemon back when I was a kid. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm
All
thinking
right,
that
what's your number 10?
just maybe one more thought. I was thinking that maybe
All
the
right.
fact that like you can get Luxray so early on and it's pretty good is like maybe like in homage to how you can get like Nidorans pretty early in Gen 1 and they evolve into pretty strong Nidoking.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah,
maybe it's just like related to that, but they actually did a better job of it.
yeah.
Okay,
The thing
so
with fandom is like that it evolves so fast. Like it's like level 18, and then you give it a Moonstone, which like
yeah.
you get early in the game anyway, and then bam, you're all set. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of
that's
crazy.
pretty good. So my number 10 is Squirtle because there's
Ooh,
this YouTube show. Well, it's not a YouTube show anymore. It's now on TikTok, because the the YouTuber realized that it was sort of not getting as many views as the rest of his videos, but that's about the point. And the premise was that it was a Squirtle and a Bulbasaur trying to host a talk show and doing a terrible job of it. And the Squirtle in that was really funny. So that's why I like Squirtle.
wow. So it's not even like from any of the games or anything. It's just
Nope.
from that. Series.
No, it's
Oh,
it's just based on that. And
yeah. Well, I'd say, yeah, Squirtle's definitely my favorite Gen 1 starter. Like, I don't know. I'd say I'm definitely pretty partial to the water type starters, as you might be able to figure out from later down in my list. But yeah, so I honestly think Squirtle's just a really, really solid Pokemon. Definitely better than Charmander and Bulbasaur in my book.
yes, I like water types too, and there's also some more water types coming. So
Oh boy. All right, well, my number 9 is going to be Zoroark. And my reason for that is because it's such a cool concept that Zoroark just like exists. So like basically, when you throw out Zoroark, he has the same appearance. Like, it just looks like you're throwing out the Pokemon in your sixth slot.
Right.
And it's like really crazy the mind games you can pull with Zoroark. Like, I don't know. It's just such a really awesome idea. And I wish Pokemon kind of did some more things like that with their like newer Pokemon. But like, man, I don't know. Just like the first time I saw Zoroark, I just fell in love with it. Like, it's just so cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a really interesting concept because like for like with Ditto for example, like you send out a Ditto at first and it has to use transform, versus like Zoroark is like immediately whatever other Pokemon you might have. And what's
Yeah,
interesting,
and it's not even like,
it does
uh,
it does put some weight into like how you organize your team because normally you just organize your team just you pick what you want to lead off with and then whatever else is just random unless you're playing like I'm pretty sure it's set.
oh yeah, true. Well,
Yes.
no, set doesn't really matter.
Oh, then
Uh, you don't
I'm
get to
stupid.
switch Pokemon between. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Like, you do have to be aware of like where, like, who's in your sixth slot because so Zoroark is a dark type, which means that he's going to if it gets hit with a psychic type move, it's not going to do anything. And so if you have a Pokemon that's weak to psychic in your sixth slot, it's actually like, and your opponent's just not going to expect it. And it's just that like they're going to waste a turn, and you have a turn to like pull off something like Nasty Plot and just like tear into their team. So
Yes.
I don't know. The Zoroark is really high on my list because I
Yeah.
it's a cool idea, and he looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot of interesting strategies there. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
returning to the theme of a Pokemon that you can get pretty early on that ends up being really good. My number 9 spot is Talonflame. And
Ooh.
I would say that I really like it because I think that like out of all the early birds, you can it's one of the most useful. It can have the really time saving ability Flame Body, which is really good if you're trying to shiny hunt via the Masuda method or get like a perfect Pokemon or whatever you're trying to breed for. And that can
Mm-hmm.
definitely speed things up. And so
Yeah.
not only is it cool, well it's actually hot, but it's cool. Um but it's also useful. And that's what I really like it what I really like about it. So what do you think about it?
Yeah. Well, as someone who has never played Gen 6, right? That's where he's from.
Yes, it's from Gen 6.
I know who Talonflame is, which definitely says a lot
Mm-hmm.
about who he is. Actually, his pre-evolution is actually in one of the, like, you can get it out of a Pokeball in Super Smash Bros. So I actually know a lot about Talonflame, and I know like its ability is really cool too. Because if its HP is full, it's, I think maybe all of his like attacking moves just become priority moves, which really like makes him super strong against you know uh, some like a Pokemon that was boosted speed. So yeah.
Yeah, what an interesting thing is it's become like a sort
Uh,
of like stand-in for like a lot of different flying types. Whereas in the I think it was like the very first trailer of Sword and Shield, um, there is a fletchling that's just it's like a fletchling weather vane, and it's just like one of those things.
yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's really cool. I think like another thing about Talonflame is it kind of marked the beginning of like diversifying like the first route bird. Like, I'm pretty sure in all the other games, it would evolve into a flying normal type. But in that game, it became Flying Fire. And then I know in Gen 8 you have Corviknight, who's Flying Steel. I don't know
Yes.
who the Gen 7 one is.
See, it it's got to be something pretty lame because I don't even know what it is.
Oh my gosh. Man, what if they just don't have one? That would be weird.
Um,
You know, you want to skip over it, and then if you remember, we can go, like, you can tell me.
yeah, yeah. Why don't you talk about your next one?
All right, well, my number 8 is one that I can talk about for quite a long time, and that's going to be Manaphy. And so I think Manaphy is a really, really awesome looking Pokemon. Like, I don't know a single person who doesn't like Manaphy. Like, it's just so nice looking, and, like, I don't know, I guess you could call it cute. Because it really is, like, I don't know. But the main reason I wanted to put Manaphy on the list, like, other than the appearance, is because if you ask me, Manaphy is probably the best executed event Pokemon that there has ever been. Because even in 2021, you can still obtain it. So the way that you obtain it is by having a Pokemon Ranger game, and you have to play through the entire thing and beat the game, and then you enter in a secret code, which honestly I don't really like that part. And then you can do this quest and get a Manaphy, and then transfer it into the game. And so I think that's a really, really cool idea because all these other event Pokemon are unobtainable now, except for Manaphy. And actually, I myself, about a year ago, I found a copy of Pokemon Ranger at the exchange. I played through the whole thing, and I got myself a Manaphy in my copy of Diamond. So I don't know. It's really cool, and it's awesome to have like a legitimate Manaphy. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that the concept that you can breed a mythical is something is something that's really interesting, and I just wonder if like they would ever take that like no I don't think they would take that the one step further of like being able to just like breed like the original mythical because then that wouldn't be a mythical anymore because they'd just be everywhere. Um, but I think that I, I don't know like what else they could do. Like maybe do something that's like a corollary to that or like a related sort of phenomenon where like you start with like an ordinary Pokemon that you can just catch anywhere, and maybe anywhere isn't accurate. Maybe it's like a 1% encounter rate in like one area, but and
Yeah.
then and then distribute its evolution stone
Huh. Yeah, I follow you.
or something like
But
that.
like,
Where and then it just evolves into like the super powerful thing.
yeah. Well, okay. So like 10 years from now, though,
Yeah.
the evolution stones are going to be unobtainable, right?
Well, yes, but I feel like you could. I feel like hopefully they let you like move Pokemon that are holding items. So there'll only be like so many of them, and
Yeah.
I
No, no,
think
I
that
got you. I got.
I think that that it's good that some things are like there's only so many of, but I think it's also bad that like if you become a Pokemon fan in the wrong time period, then you're out of luck for some things. But then I guess maybe there's always some things that are going to be like that, and
You. Hmm.
everyone moves on eventually. So it's just a matter of like what you miss. There'll be different things that every generation, shall we say, of fans will miss. And so
Yeah. Yep. But
you just gotta take the
will
good with the
not be
bad
one.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. So what's your number?
yeah, so my number 8 is Snum. This is starting a theme. No, this isn't really the start of the theme because Snum is incredibly weak. Um, so never mind that. I'll talk about I'll talk about my theme soon enough. But I like Snom because of the memes. Because out of the multiple unofficial gods of Pokemon, so you have like Snom, Bidoof, um a little bit Magikarp, but not really. Um
Yeah. I think I don't know. I can't think of any other ones.
uh, Snom, Bidoof, Omanite, which
Oh yeah,
Omanite
Omanite.
itself isn't very strong. Um, it's sort of like I see Snom as like maybe like the most interesting one because it's new, so it's like reached that status very quickly, and I would say
Mhm.
that there are very good reasons that it is deserving of that that reputation in the community.
Yeah, definitely for me, Snom is such a funny Pokemon
It is. It is.
because it's kind of like it's just kind of like this little thing, and
Yep.
it's trying to fight, but it's just so weak. Its evolutions, I think Frogmoth is really cool. I wish it was a little stronger, but what can you really do?
Yeah. I wish its type was a little better. Um.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, being not the best.
Yeah. But
Not exactly what you want.
but a Pokemon certainly doesn't have to be strong to be interesting. So that is my thought
Oh
on
yeah, no. And that's our segue into my number 7 pick,
that.
who is Piplup. And I'm sorry, I keep picking Gen 4 Pokemon. I promise it'll stop after this. But Piplup is kind of along the same line as Luxray. Okay, so here's a bit of a history lesson from me. So the first game I played was, I think, Leaf Green, back when I was like 5 and I didn't know what I was doing. Then when I was like 8 or 9, and I was old enough so that I could understand what was happening, young enough that like my imagination was going crazy. And so Piplup was just my friend, you know? I have dreams of just hanging out with Piplup. And I think that Piplup is, well, definitely my favorite starter. And just has a really, really cool personality. Is really cute, but is suffering from one of the things that all the Sinnoh starters suffer from, if you ask me, which is horrible 3D models. I hate them. I hate all the Sinnoh starter 3D models. They all look horrible, especially Chimchar. So I'm hoping they polish those up for and then Shining Pearl. And yeah, but no, Piplup is just an awesome Pokemon.
Well, they're gonna be better, as in like objectively like higher resolution and like more frames per second. But they could still be bad in terms of like they're ugly. I thought you were gonna say third stages because,
Uh,
but maybe not.
I don't know. I don't even know if I've seen the 3D models for the. I don't know. I've seen like all of their first stage models, and I don't know. I guess Turtwig looks fine, but like Piplup looks not very good, and Chimchar, I don't know what is going on with Chimchar.
Yeah, and then there's back sprites, which can sometimes be even worse. But that's that's a big rabbit hole that I don't know that we want to go down. I think it's interesting how you said like, sorry about like so many Gen 4 Pokemon, as if I'm gonna do better at not mentioning like a ton of Gen 3 Pokemon because I'm about to, and there's there's also a lot um, going on there. So speaking
Yeah. Okay.
of yeah, so speaking of Gen 3, Latias is in my seventh place. It happens to be the only Pokemon plushie that I have. So that is,
Wow.
and she doesn't want to sit right. Um, and the and this is now where I can talk about Pokemon that I like being a certain concept. So, in general, what I would describe the concept is Pokemon that doesn't really look like it's gonna be too threatening or powerful, and then ends up being like actually capable
Yeah.
of massive amounts of destruction. And I think that that sort of concept appeals to me because it really speaks to the fact that like almost everything is a lot more complicated than just like what you can immediately see on the outside. And of course we talk about that with people, but it's it's nice to like see that like in Pokemon as well. And I'll be
Mhm.
talking more about that concept as I get to more Pokemon that are on my list.
Yeah, and a very interesting thing about like the Eon duo, I think they're called,
Mm-hmm.
is that they're like a few of the only legendaries with genders. So like Latios is always a female, and Latios is always a male, and I think that that was a really nice touch as well. Quality to them.
Yeah, those are the ones that should have been made able to breed into something. They'll be
Oh my
like,
gosh, it's perfect.
but but no,
Yeah,
they were like,
like
nope, can't do that.
honest, like Fiona's like just one of the most pointless Pokemon ever. Like, why does Fiona exist? I don't really
Hmm.
understand it, but here we are. But anyway, so a funny story, but my number six Pokemon is actually Latias.
Hmm.
uh, so my reasoning is I really like the Eon duo, and I definitely wanted one of them to be represented here.
Mm-hmm.
Of the two, I feel like Latias has a lot more personality than Latios, and it's just just kind of like pleasant in the same way that Manaphy is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, just universally, I really like that shade of red.
Hmm.
And just the smile is a nice touch too. Actually,
Yeah, like what you said, um, like what you said about the personality. Are you talking about any particular movie when you say that?
to be honest, it has been a long time since I've watched that movie. But I think that might be where a lot of my love for Latias is coming from. But I don't really remember anything that happened in that movie.
I actually haven't watched that movie,
So,
but I've watched clips from it, and it's come up on like fact videos and such. Um, one interesting thing is that like from a certain perspective, when Latias turns into a human, um, and kisses Ash, that technically means that that Ash has gone further in our relationship with Latias than anybody else. Technically, if you're counting based on actions and
oh my
not
god.
amount of time, because they're only in like Alto Mare or whatever it's called for like a day or however long. Obviously, it's a
Mhm.
lot less than the length of time that Ash spends with like Misty, for example. But if you're talking like based on like things that Ash has done with a girl, that is just an interesting thing to think about. It's
Yeah.
like I don't
No,
I don't know
you
what
definitely.
I don't know what um mm, I don't know what gender it is that is like you're like into Pokemon, like romantically interested in Pokemon. But maybe Ash is whatever gender that is. I don't know. That's something that we can
I,
think about. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
nothing really. Like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever seen that clip, but now I definitely want to.
I'm sure you can find it
Uh,
pirated somewhere on YouTube.
yeah. No, I'll bet you I can. All right. What's your number six?
Okay, so my number six is actually I don't want to say it's the only one that's on here because of a sentimental attachment. Um, because I don't necessarily know that that's true, but it's definitely the most. It's definitely the one that's on here for sentimental attachment, the primarily, and that would be Chandelure. So essentially, when I was playing through Generation 5 not too long ago, I I was trying to take my team building a little bit more seriously than some of my past playthroughs, largely for the reason of trying to get through the game fairly quickly. For I think I was trying to like move some Pokemon forward,
Yeah.
I wanted to have a team that was gonna get through the games efficiently, and what I ended up doing is I had a Chandelure where and what I would do is I had all of my money spent on healing items, and what I would do is I would go into the E4,
Hmm.
lose, but at least I gained some XP. And what ended up happening is my strategy became like I would have Chandelure up front. I would go to Caitlyn and pretty much one shot all of her Pokemon. Essentially, I would just keep going into the E4 over and over. And what I would do is I would go to Caitlyn with Chandelure because it was basically the only thing that I could one shot their first Pokemon and therefore be able to actually gain any XP at all. Because if I started with anybody else, um, most likely I would have just gotten one shot by
Yeah.
anybody else's first Pokemon. So I had to do that, and then it sort of snowballed to the point where if I did that, then Chandelure would get enough XP to where I could actually go to Chantal, and because Ghost is good on Ghost, I could go and do that, and and not have to worry about that, and so then Chandelure was really over leveled and as a result really useful for like finishing the game. So that was
Yeah.
it was a rough time because I had to like keep going and just keep losing over and over, and it was a little bit like how many more times do I have to do this? Um, but I did manage to do it,
Yeah.
and that was that felt really good um, um to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And I think uh, I actually remember when you were going that, and we were kind of like just messaging like back and forth about like what the best strategies were. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I don't know. I feel like the later Pokemon games aren't as hard, but I mean, it wouldn't have been as challenging for you, which I guess has positives and negatives. Anyway, speaking about Chandelure, I think Chandelure is like a really, really good concept for a Pokemon. and it really it's great. And like of all of the Pokemon that are like based off of like objects, I feel like Chandelure is probably my favorite. Like I don't really think the object Pokemon are that great, but honestly, Chandelure is just kind of the exception to the rule because it's really cool.
I think that there's there's like the really bad object Pokemon, um, like Trubbish, and then there's like the kind of okay ones, and maybe something that I would put in maybe the okay category would be like Voltorb or something like that, and then
Yeah, yeah. Right.
and then obviously I agree with you that Chandelure is definitely like a very well executed object based Pokemon.
Yeah, yeah. No, they really just took like a chandelier and they were like, all right,
Yep.
but we're gonna make it cool, and then
Yep.
they did.
Yep.
Yep. So for my number five pick, I have Alchemy. And I know it's kind of weird that I would pick Alchemy, but hear me out. So the thing with Alchemy is, first off, a bunch of different colors, which is a really, really cool addition. Depending on like just basically random items that you can pick up at like the cafe and stuff. And it really adds a lot of personality to Alchemy. And it's like there's like so many different colors that like you can make kind of each and every one unique, which is really cool. And not only that, the reason that I like Alchemy so much is I've been doing a lot of endless Dynamax adventures. Alchemy, I catch that thing like I do whatever I can to get my hands on it because it is absolutely for that because it has its signature move is called Decorate. Basically, just power up any one of your allies and just like boost its attack and easily my favorite support Pokemon in all of the Dynamax adventures because you just get to choose which teammate you want to power up for that fight, and it's just a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, and especially a lot of the time teammates can need powered up if they're NPC teammates because they're stupid sometimes, and you have to help them
Yeah,
get through what you're trying to get through.
sometimes.
I think Alchemy is a great I wouldn't say that it's the definitive poster child of Gigantamax, but it's definitely one of the featured Gigantamax Pokemon, if that
Yeah,
makes any sense. And I
yeah.
think that it's it fits that role well, and it is definitely a Pokemon that will make teams more dynamic and interesting. I think that
Mm-hmm.
it definitely shines when it is A, shiny, and B, I think it also shines when it's with other Pokemon. I think that like as a standalone, like if you're just gonna have like follow you in like the uh wherever wherever Pokemon can follow you in both of those in the expansion pass lands is what I'm just gonna sum it up to. Maybe not the best option,
Okay.
but that is said, that said, we are going to move on to my number. We are on five now, and my number five
Yeah.
is Sylveon. It's my favorite evolution. Again, returning to that idea. Actually, yeah. Okay. All of my top five can, to a certain extent, fit the concept of not really looking like they can be very dangerous, but having the ability to be very dangerous. And
Huh. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Predict my top the rest of my top five just based on that statement. Um,
Ooh.
I think that what's interesting about Sylveon is like, people don't think of like the evolutions as just sort of mediocre, but Sylveon is like actually pretty good, or it was pretty good at some point in time, and that's what I think really draws me to it because it's like the it's like the one like really good Pokemon out of a family of like generally kind of okay Pokemon that are like ironically kind of common because they're like not supposed to be common, but like they're just everywhere because you're always given one, or well, not always given one. Sometimes you have to seek them out, but they're they're common enough as gifts to where they aren't really actually rare. Um,
Mhm.
and and of course now you can just catch all of the evolutions in that one place in the wild area, just one a day every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Sylveon is a pretty solid evolution. I feel like I have a few preferences over Sylveon, but that's just me. Like I don't know. I've always really liked Jolteon, but he didn't make the list. Um, Sylveon's really like a really cool Pokemon, and I really think Sylveon's kind of like the poster child for fairy types.
That's definitely true.
Like Sylveon is just like, hey, fairies new. Let's make a new evolution to just roll them in, and yeah. So I agree with you. I think Sylveon's solid.
Its shiny is also great if you're
Yeah, go
into
for it.
looking at shinies. It's basically you take the pink that's on Sylveon and replace it with like a light blue. It's pretty much its shiny.
Oh, like I don't know. As long as the shiny is like recognizable, I think it's a good shiny.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of shiny where it's like, this is shiny. Like what?
Yeah, I'm always afraid that like when I
That's
do
funny.
like the Dynamax adventures that like I'm gonna like skip over a shiny that I don't know what the shiny looks like and it's very similar.
Oh, just check the summary. It'll always tell you in the summary if it's shiny.
Yep. Yep, that's what I should do.
Uh, Number four pick is Lapras.
Hmm.
And my reasoning for Lapras is basically like, to be honest, I don't really have sentimental value now, but Lapras definitely wasn't a very big part of my childhood. Like
Hmm.
Lapras was kind of just like a Pokemon that was there.
Hmm.
It didn't evolve and was cool. But so not too long ago, I completed my quest to get an 100 win streak in the Sinnoh Battle Tower. And oh my gosh, it took so long. And I remember one of the matches, I was at, I think, like 80 or so wins in a row. If I lost, I would be all the way back to
Hmm.
zero and I'd have to start over. This was a run, maybe like a month in the process because I always take breaks in between. And Lapras was up against this Slowbro. And the Slowbro was the other trainer's last Pokemon, and Lapras was my last Pokemon. And Lapras didn't have very much health left.
Hmm.
But I had used Dragon Dance, so I was faster and pretty strong. And I didn't have. I knew. So my Lapras had two moves, Return and Waterfall. That Return wouldn't kill. And so my best shot for Waterfall and try and flinch the Slowbro. And if I didn't get the flinch, the Slowbro was going to kill me. And so I used Waterfall, and then I beat the Slowbro. and that was the run that I went on and won the whole thing. So it was kind of insane. It's just kind of the key for that.
Okay, well, I know that you are much better at actual competitive battling than me, so I don't know if I can maybe really comment on that. So, moving on to my number four, which is Absol, and it's especially its mega. I think that its mega looks really really amazing, and
Yeah.
I think that I like it because it's so often misunderstood that like people say, and I'm having a hard time remembering if it's like people in the real world will say this or if people in the Pokemon world make this mistake, but it's that that people say that when Absol shows up that bad thing that it's gonna cause bad things when in reality it's just like a warning that like bad things are going to come and it's not actually
Yeah.
causing them. And
Mm.
I think that that's like that actually makes it like a really good Pokemon in my eyes because it's looking out for whoever encounters it. It's like get out of this place. Um, and so that's definitely cool. Also, I have to talk about the shiny again because it does have a really cool shiny. It's do you know that's what that shiny looks like? Because it's fine if you
Mm.
don't, but it goes from basically like blue to like red, and
Oh, wow.
and also it's and, and, and then its mega gets like wings, and it also like keeps that color scheme. So yeah, yeah, it's like a dark red. So that is that.
Huh.
So what are your thoughts on Absol?
Yeah. I can definitely offer some insight to Absol. So not too long ago, I played through the Rescue Team DX, which is the remake of Red and Blue Rescue Team Mystery Dungeon. And so I never actually thought about this, but kind of late into the game when you're traveling through like an icy area, you like meet an Absol, and then it like joins your team and stuff, and it's really cool. And right after that, you learn that a giant meteor is about to crash into Earth. A lot of sense. Yeah, he came right before the disaster started happening. Like,
Yeah, so that is one of the few times where the Pokedex does not lie. There are a lot more when it does, I guess.
except for like in all the games where you can encounter it in the post game,
Yep,
then it's lying.
yep. So maybe now's a good time before we get into our top three. If we have any honorable mentions that we would like to talk about, or if you're me and you made your list very quickly right before recording this, maybe time to talk about something that might have made the list in an alternate universe. So, is there anything that
Yeah,
you would like to share that you would consider an honorable mention?
yeah, I've got one or two. Definitely an honorable mention for me is gonna be Cramorant. I think Cramorant is a really funny and cool Pokemon that you can just like get fish every time you use like Surf and Dive. But sometimes it's a Pikachu, and when it's a Pikachu, you actually get to, like paralyze them. I think that's like it's just such a hilarious Pokemon for me. Like it, I don't know. Something about him is really funny. Like I said about the endless Dynamax adventures. Like when I see Cramorant, I take Cramorant because like he's not even that good, but he's just so funny that I always take him.
And then I was gonna say that I have two honorable mentions. One of them is Onyx. I think that it's one of the Gen 1 designs that really like still holds up today in terms of just being a well designed Pokemon. And
Yeah,
then my other is Aurorus, and again I would say that it's something that is really majestic, and it's like it could um like being based on a dinosaur, like if it wanted to, it could like crush its trainer in like a second, but it's not going to
yeah,
because it cares about its trainer, and it's going to. It's also like interesting because it's a fossil Pokemon that was around. I think it's like they say 300 million years ago is like the default amount of time that a fossil Pokemon was before it went extinct. Um, they just like to
yeah.
throw that term around. It's either 300 million years ago or 100 million years ago is like the automatic term that they put. Um,
Hmm.
and and putting a Pokemon in a specific category will always make it more interesting. Um, like how we talked about
Yeah.
like evolutions, or like how we talked about starters, or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, if I had to pick a second honorable mention here, I think I would probably have to go with Murkrow. I think Murkrow is kind of a bit of an underrated design.
If you could please just say
Like,
that
I don't know.
again, because for the audience, I'm not sure that your audio is coming in as strong as it could possibly be.
Uh, yeah, sorry. All right. Well, so the Pokemon that I would pick for my second honorable mention would be Murkrow, who I think has a really underrated design. Like, it's a very simplistic design, yeah. But like, just I don't know, something about the hat, like it really just gets me. And just kind of like a sort of bird, which is something that you don't really see anywhere else except for like Honcho. But yeah, I just think that it's a good idea, executed very well.
Okay, so now I'm thinking, are we ready to move into our top three?
Yeah, I'm ready to move into my top three. And so my number three is probably going to be something that a Pokemon that maybe not even many people have seen. I feel like this is like kind of an under the radar Pokemon, and that is Chaytot. Now, hear me out. Chaytot is an awesome Pokemon for a lot of reasons. Um, but the main reason for me is because he has probably the best gimmick. Like, if you ask me, the best gimmick that any Pokemon has ever seen. And it's not with his ability. It's not with, one of his moves, although it kind of is. But basically, it's a Gen 4 Pokemon. And when they came out with Diamond and Pearl, they said, hey, what are the DS's capabilities? And so one of those capabilities is having a mic. And so Chaytot learns this move called Chatty. And outside of battle, you can use Chatty. And basically, whatever you say into the mic becomes Chaytot's cry. So it kind of makes Chaytot into one of those birds who always repeats everything that you say. I can't really remember what the
You mean a parrot?
what those birds are called. Wait, what?
You mean a parrot?
I know. I think parrots do it, but I don't know. I guess a lot of birds do it. Um, but it's just like wow. Like, and every time you throw it out, it'll just say that thing, and it'll like save it.
Yep.
And I think since Gen like it happened, you can do it too in Gen 5, but in Gen 6, I don't think there's a mic anymore, so you can't do it. But another fun fact about the Chatter move is depending on how many decibels of the recording that you made. Like the louder it is, the higher the chance chatter confuses the target, which is so hilarious. Like, so I don't know. I don't like Tay Top because of its looks. Like, I think he looks fine. Like, its looks serve its purpose, but like the gimmick is just so hilarious that I couldn't like I just kind of fell in love with it a long time ago.
Okay, I'm maybe a bit sorry to ruin your fun, but I think that I've seen enough of like people abusing that mechanic to have it maybe make some rude noises or say some rude words, and
But do you know a
that's
fun?
unfortunate because people abuse everything on the internet.
If you are on an online match, you will the Chatot will make its normal cry if the opponent throws it out. It's perfectly fine. It's safe. Like, sure, it'll say a cuss word on your end. Like, it'll like if you own it, it'll say a cuss word on your end. But your opponent won't hear anything. It'll just be the normal cry.
I,
It's fine. There's no cyberbullying involved.
I'm maybe not even talking about like battles necessarily, but I'm talking about like the kind of like 10-second YouTube videos that you just click on because you're curious, and it's like I got my chat out to say this, and it's like I really need to watch that video? And it's like it's just taking up space. It's like I'm not gonna click on that. It's just
Okay,
gonna take up. It's just gonna
but
waste
like,
space in my recommended and not be
yeah,
this channel.
there's no other. There's no other Pokemon with a gimmick like that. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's no other Pokemon with a gimmick that you can just, I don't know, make a funny 10-second YouTube video out of. At least not that I know of.
Okay. So okay, so you maybe
Nothing
you
comes.
see it as entertaining, and maybe I see it as wasteful, and that's just a difference of opinion that we're gonna have, and we'll just maybe let that rest. Um,
Uh, you say so. I don't know.
yes.
I'm standing by my opinion. It's so funny.
Your opinion is valid. I'm not invalidating your opinion.
Oh
But
yeah,
maybe it is best if we talk about maybe a Pokemon that isn't what you would call under the radar, and that would be of course my number three, which is Gardevoir. I was actually kind of surprised that I didn't put Gardevoir a little bit lower, but I guess like just my method of like eliminating my least favorite each time just sort of left it, and I guess I didn't realize how much I liked it until I made this list. Um, what I would say draws me to Gardevoir is that in its Pokedex entry, and I don't want to say which game because I don't know, but it says that if it feels that it's necessary, it will create a small black hole to protect its trainer, which I think is really cool because it shows that it's that dedicated. Like the the phrase like small black hole. The thing is, a black hole that is like this big would have like the mass of the Earth, or one that's like this big would have like the mass of Jupiter, and
Oh man.
so that's a lot of energy, right? That has to be compressed into a certain space. Um, or if it's talking like small as in like the amount of mass, like a black hole that was like they say like a black hole anything that's like towards the lower limit, so like the size of like the tip of a pen, um,
Hmm.
or smaller, would just vaporize pretty much instantly, and that would just like create like a huge flash of light, and Gardevoir can learn flash, so maybe
Oh
that's why it
man.
can. But and
Huh. Yeah,
that's what I
that's
think is
interesting.
cool. Now, it would be a poor defense, so maybe Gardevoir is is not a very smart Pokemon, but it is a Psychic type, so
Yeah, no, I've always seen Gardevoir as smart. And
Yeah.
going back to that Mr. Dungeon game that I played, so Gardevoir is definitely a very like like you were saying, like it'll create a black hole to protect its trainer. Like
Hmm.
it's willing to put everything on the line to protect its trainer. And in that game, something that a Gardevoir does is it like shoves its trainer out of the way and actually gets saving its trainer, and then its trainer runs away, and then it's all sad. But that's beside the point. It's very loyal to its trainer, and it's kind of along the lines of Amara, and I don't really know how else to describe it.
Yep. Yeah. That's definitely a fair point. Um,
Mhm.
it also pulls off the concept of a humanoid Pokemon very well. You know, that's like the other controversial category in terms of like you have your humanoid Pokemon and then you have your item based Pokemon, and both of those are very controversial categories. And I would say that I like Gardevoir and I like Chandelure because they both do very well for their categories, and like
Yeah.
I would say like well enough to like raise the overall average so that these categories aren't complete trash.
Wow. All right. Well, my number two Pokemon is going to be Mudkip.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I love Mudkip. Mudkip is such a cool Pokemon, and it checks like all the boxes for me. So Mudkip is cute, but he's also strong, and he's also just like I don't know. He's loyal. Like everything that I don't know. It's obviously maybe some bias here, but something about Mudkip, like not even like I don't like Marshtomp. I think Marshtomp is a horrible second evolution, but Swampert's fine. But something about Mudkip. I just think he's the cutest little thing, and he deserves to be protected. And I've definitely done a lot of things with just Mudkip. It's like leveling up way past what he needs to be to evolve.
That's interesting that you mentioned that because I have never done that. With like for like Pokemon that evolve by level up, I have never like waited to evolve because I just needed to be stronger. Because at that at that point for Pokemon that evolve by level up, you're still playing the game. For the most part.
Mhm.
With maybe you know what, maybe the exception to that is like all of the just random level 60s that are first stage Pokemon, um, that you catch to complete the dex, and I just one rare candy for the second stage, one more rare candy for the third stage. That's probably my only exception to that. What I think is interesting about that is Swampert was my very first ace on a team. Um, I wasn't very good at playing Pokemon yet, but it was my starter, so it was always the highest level. And then I got Kyogre and replaced it with Kyogre. Even though Kyogre was lower level, I was like, oh, it's a legendary. So I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
cool, um, because that's just the point that I was at in Pokemon at that time.
yeah, and Kyle, okay, actually broken though. Like his drizzle ability just like makes him so strong. It's crazy. So from a purely strategic standpoint, that wasn't the worst move to make.
Yeah, yeah, that
Although I
is true.
probably would have kept both of them on the team
Hmm.
and not evolved the Mudkip. But yeah, I don't know. He's so cute. All right, who's your number two?
So well, so we're already to number two. I feel like we've been going so fast, but we've been going for like almost an hour, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So and this is why I didn't really make very many comments about this Pokemon before when you mentioned it, and that's because my number two is Lapras. So I
Oh
wanted to.
man.
This to so
Wow.
we've actually had a couple of Pokemon that have been on both of our lists.
Yeah.
Sometimes back to back, which I think is really interesting. That we've done
Mhm.
that completely independently of each other. I hadn't seen your list and you hadn't seen mine list prior to making
Yeah.
this,
No.
um, because no one had seen mine list prior to making this. Um, I would say that whenever a Pokemon almost sweeps my team, or maybe even sweeps my team, and I have to reset my game because I'm bound and determined, and maybe this is something that I need to move past, but like I'm bound and determined not to lose a Pokemon battle, um, in a playthrough, against the
Yeah.
computer, unless it's like one of those things that's designed to be like actually challenging, like a battle tower. Then I can accept the loss like that. But so maybe I need to move on. But
Yeah.
like whenever that happens, it will always increase my respect for that Pokemon. So that happened. Obviously, that happened with Lapras. When I was battling the Ice Gym, I was um, Melanie sent out her Gigantamax Lapras, and I was destroyed. And I was like, I'm getting I'm getting one of those from him because that's what I want to do is like whenever something is so strong that I don't come up with a reasonable way to beat it, I need it as an ally and not as an enemy. And
True.
the other time that happened was with Ultra Necrozma. I The only way I was able to make it through that um, was because I had something that could just barely survive. Like I had enough revives to like stall it out for a while, so I could so I could do that, and then it's one attack that I had left. Um, I think was like Power Gem, and I had something that could just barely survive a hit from that with enough HP, or just barely survive 2 hits. That way I could deal a little tiny bit of damage because if it's pretty under leveled, um, just to do a little bit of tiny damage, just enough to gradually whittle it down. And that's not a battle that you can run from, or it's also not a battle where you can catch it yet. Although you
Hmm.
do catch it shortly after. Um, and I think that that was also around the time when I was starting college, and one interesting thing is like my room number was 131, which is Lapras's Pokedex number. So, and
Wow.
that was really cool. And I was like, hey, I I I thought I was cool for that, but maybe the reality is otherwise.
Hmm.
Um,
I don't know, and I really like a cool thing about Lapras is like
yeah.
I don't know you like there's a lot of people who do like Pokemon fan art and them, and like if anyone just like draws a picture of the Pokemon world, you can be sure that Lapras is going to be somewhere in that page.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
That it's
Lapras will always be as the Pokemon that knows Surf, as the
yep.
Pokemon that is going to train it,
Yes. It
and that's pretty.
that's what I like about it too is that like I want to say the Pokemon Company, but and the corporate nature of Pokemon is complicated, but let's say the Pokemon Company for now. I think they're very much in the right to be giving Lapras attention because
Mhm.
the, I don't know if maybe it's because of that attention or no. I have substantial reason that it's not because of that attention that I like it so much because because I don't like Charizard because it gets so much attention. But I think that they're right in giving
Yeah,
Lapras a lot of attention because of what it does, what it is, and it's something that's like it's and
I feel
it's
like
just
I don't know.
like
It gets a lot of it.
very noble
Yeah,
in like its pursuit of transportation.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like Lapras gets a lot of attention, but I don't think it's like it's overboard or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think the amount of attention that a Pokemon gets should detract from the actual quality of it, because that's just it's kind of unrelated. It's not Lapras's fault
Mm-hmm.
that it's considered that way and that sort of thing. But along those lines, my number one pick for Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
is, and I feel like Andrew probably knows what it is, and a lot of you might know too if
Yeah.
you've been paying attention to the earlier episodes. But drum roll, please. Thank you for the imaginary drum roll. It's Pikachu. It has to be Pikachu. And okay, so here we go again with the whole. Yeah, like yes, I understand that Pokemon, that Pikachu is literally the most oversaturated Pokemon that there can possibly be. Like every time the Pokemon's company does anything, Pikachu is going to appear, and I am well aware of this. However, when you like I was saying before, I don't think that should take anything away from the Pokemon itself. Pikachu is an incredible Pokemon and does it like in his okay, I thought about this a lot. And I see him as like the perfect mascot for Pokemon as a whole. Because like I was saying with Mudkip, Pikachu does a great job of checking all the boxes too. Like, he's cute, he's strong, he's smart, all those sorts of things. And not only, and well, okay, and because he checks the boxes in that way, he appeals to all sorts of players. He appeals to boys, he appeals to girls, he appeals to new players who just want to see lightning bolts go pew pew, and old players who like Pokemon with a little more depth. Pikachu really does a great job at checking all of those boxes and really tying a lot of tying all the Pokemon together. Like, he doesn't have a gimmick, but if you want to use him competitively, you have to be really smart. That sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What do you have to say about Pikachu, Andrew?
I think that whatever I say about Pikachu is going to be criticized and and remembered, and so I think that I'm definitely very open to mentioning Pikachu as maybe part of something that we do next season, but I think that at this time I will be keeping my thoughts on Pikachu to myself.
All right. Well, fair enough. Well, anyway, so that's my list. You still get to hear Andrew's number one. But yeah, I don't know. I firmly believe if Pikachu was not so overexposed in all the media, heck of a lot more of a fan favorite. And like, I don't know, like he's already a household name, so I can't be mad or anything. But I feel like a lot of time when people think about like what's my favorite Pokemon, Pikachu just doesn't come to mind because he's so mainstream. And that's what I had to say about Pikachu. You're up there.
Okay, so My favorite Pokemon currently, and I say currently even though it's been my favorite for a while now, is, and I'm not going to make you do a drum roll, it's Milotic. It's basically like a Lapras plus. It's so a lot of the same reasons that I like Lapras, I like Milotic for, but it does those things better. It's
Hmm.
it's a more beautiful water type that is also if you've seen the not the main anime but like the other short one that's the Raizen one. It's obviously not like the transportation Pokemon, but it is um but anyhow it's like more graceful in the water. It is another one of those Pokemon that is very good at like not looking like it is going to drag you down to the depths of the sea and where you will drown, but it will very much do so if it decides to. And I like,
Yeah.
you know, it I don't know, it's hard to describe why I like it, and I don't know why, and maybe that's really just because I like it at like a personal level,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because I like it at at a level that's more emotional, maybe more than like quantifiable. Um, I think that another concept that I really like is that like in order to obtain it, you have to work really hard, and
Yeah.
then it's a reward that's very much worth it. I think
Mhm.
that maybe if there's like one thing that it's missing a mega because Gyarados got a mega, and that's sort of its like more um more overtly aggressive counterpart, and
Oh, you're
Gyarados got
right.
a mega. Um,
Yeah.
and then additionally, there's like the idea that it came from Feebas, which is just this ugly, weak fish that can't really do anything, and then it's like if you just have the patience and ability to evolve it through any of there's currently two evolution methods, but who knows as they
Mm.
continue to shape Pokemon evolution methods if it'll get more. Um,
Yeah.
it really introduced the concept that a Pokemon can have two separate valid evolution methods because now now we see that with some of the evolutions because they didn't want to put certain evolution locations for like Leafeon and Glaceon, and so they
Yeah.
just made them evolve with all the stones. And Milotic set that precedent of being the first Pokemon where like they got rid of Poffins, so they had to
Mm.
create a new method. And I think that that's something that's really interesting. And it ties into a lot of the refinements in the series very well. I would say that Milotic is a Pokemon that is really more than I would say any other meant to be appreciated in detail, whereas like a lot of Pokemon can be liked, but I think that Milotic is special because it's not only able to be liked, but it's able to be like thought of as good, and it's like even like supposed to be the most beautiful Pokemon like in the Pokemon world. So I think that that's definitely another thing that it has going for it.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got something to add too. So I've spent a lot of time trying to complete the national dex in Diamond and Pearl, and so obviously one of the things that I needed to do was get my Lotus. And oh my gosh, like you really have to put so much effort into getting this thing. Like first off, you have to obviously fish up the Feebas, which you may have heard this before, but it's in this giant it's in this giant lake. And what happens is only a few of the tiles in that lake contain a Feebas. And it's not even guaranteed that when you fish there, you're going to get the Feebas. It's only like 50%. It's only 50%. So you can never be sure that you're actually going to get the Feebas. And so you have to fish in all these different tiles the whole time. And every single day, the locations of the Feebas tiles change. So you have to basically do it in one day, or all of your work is gone. It's bad. I know the old evolution method for Feebas is really cool, where you have to feed it. You have to feed it dry toppings to raise its beauty and make it, into a Milotic, because oh my gosh, the Feebas is so beautiful. But that part is really hard too, because you have to raise its beauty like super duper high, and to do that, you have to, at least in Diamond and Pearl, you have to use berries, really like that are really good for raising beauty. Which you have to get in Amity Square. At least that's what I did. And yeah, so basically, what I'm trying to say is Milotic is as beautiful as it is for a reason. Like, you have to put in all the work to get there.
Yes. So one interesting story about that is when when I was trying to get a Milotic to use when I actually got my first physical copy of a Pokemon game, um it of course, it being so old, the battery is dead. So the berry trees do not grow. And so I had to look up, because there's like the ones that won't work. There's like ones that won't work, ones that will work poorly, which if you do just that type, it won't be enough. Then there's the ones that'll work well, and then there's like the one type that'll work really well, which is not something you can get without having the ability to plant berry seeds and get them to go. So I only had like the second highest tier available, and I had to like really go out of my way to get that. And I think that, yeah, maybe another reason that I like it is because it was one of the more interesting Pokemon, maybe just like in terms of like obtaining it and like backstory. Oh, well, maybe not so much backstory, but it's just one of the more interesting Pokemon in like the very first game that I had like a physical copy of, and
Yeah.
that has just sort of stuck with me. That's also true of
Mhm.
Absol, because you also have to. It's not, obviously it's not as hard to seek out, but you do have to seek it out, and
Yeah.
and that is sort of that. So that concludes our top 10 Pokemon. Of course, we'd like to hear what your top 10 Pokemon are down in the comments. So don't forget to do that. And while you're at it, of course, we would very much appreciate it if you would like this and subscribe so that in the fall, when season 2 begins, you will be able to catch all of the episodes no matter when they may come out, because who knows if we will actually stick to a regular schedule. So
Hey, we're
thank
trying,
you.
though. We're trying.
So thank you very much, and thank you, Connor, for helping me to get through all these episodes. I know that I do not have a ton of motivation at all times, and we've been able to really persevere and get through the season. So I'd like to thank you very much for making the time to do this with me and for making the thumbnails. And we will see you in the next episode. Tower Duo out.